Welcome to Korean Cinema Channel. Today I would like to send you the following news.
Guo Yuxin tore up an 8-figure short drama contract, then turned around and walked straight into a 40-degree Celsius Hengdian furnace, wrapped in 3 layers of kippeo, to shoot a long drama on January 27, 2026. Leaked set photos from Jade Hairpin Autumn hit the internet. In the images, Guo Yuxin's kippeo lining is visibly soaked through, her hair stuck to her neck, her posture still upright under the harsh reflection board. She looks less like a pretty actress on set and more like someone who's been pulled out of water, except she's not drowning in a lake, she's drowning in heat, lights, and time, and the most unsettling part, she didn't complain once. Instead, she walked up to the director and asked to rewrite the scene. The original script called for a full breakdown, loud sobbing, collapsed shoulders, theatrical wailing, the kind of emotional shortcut the industry has trained audiences to accept as acting. Guo Yuxin proposed the opposite: silent tears. No screaming. No hysteria. Just a face that tries to hold itself together, and fails anyway. Her reasoning was even sharper than the change itself. Actors aren't fast-moving consumer goods. That sentence alone is enough to break people who still care about performance, because the truth is, in today's market, actors are treated like fast fashion. Wear them, hype them, discard them. The short drama industry turned fame into an elevator ride. 18 days of shooting, 30 billion views, and the money lands before the bruises even heal. The contract she tore up reportedly came with guaranteed revenue sharing, a huge platform advance, and a payout schedule so smooth it basically screamed, "Relax. You're rich now." And she said no, not because she couldn't take it, because she didn't want it. Instead, she chose an 8-month production cycle, a long drama, and a role that isn't built to flatter her. A character who starts as a spoiled socialite, then gradually darkens into a villain, layer by layer, decision by decision, consequence by consequence. The kind of role that demands patience, technical control, and psychological precision. People laughed. They called her foolish. They said she was throwing money away, but from where I'm standing, she's doing something far rarer than being brave. She's pulling a runaway industry back onto the road with her bare hands, because the short drama bubble has been ringing in everyone's ears for a while now, loud enough that even the platforms can't pretend they don't hear it. On January 29, 2026, a new traffic push rule from a major platform leaked. Starting in February, new dramas must hit dub/6 and maintain a name positive review rate 70% to enter the main recommendation pool. The slap face plus identity reveal plus revenge sprint combo doesn't hit like it used to. Audiences are tired. Platforms are tired. And once the algorithm stops feeding you, the only thing left is the work itself. The teams that used to print money through melodramatic shock value are now scrambling. Investment firms tied to ad spend companies reportedly dropped hard within days. Former hitmakers are suddenly studying screenwriting and rebranding as story consultants, because the golden age of easy traffic is ending. And that's why Guo Yuxin's rip wasn't just a ripped contract, it was a ripped rule. She didn't just refuse money, she refused the unspoken industry deal: trade your craft for speed. Trade your dignity for metrics. Trade your future for today's heat. Her choice forces the entire system to face an uncomfortable question. If acting is only a product, why do audiences still cry when it's done well? Some short drama actors get famous and immediately accept endless copy-paste projects. Same plot, same expressions, same sweet but empty chemistry, until the audience drops them by the tens of thousands. Then they still insist, "The market needs me." No. The market doesn't need you, the market needs proof. Platforms don't pay for loyalty. They pay for results. And pity can't be converted into wa. Guo Yuxin understands that. She understands that the only way to survive the next wave isn't to run faster on the same treadmill, it's to step off it entirely and rebuild what acting is supposed to be. So when she stands in Hengdian at 40 degrees Celsius, wrapped in kippeo, sweating through fabric and refusing to scream on cue, even more ironic is what happened on the exact same day, January 27, 2026. The regulator had just issued a child filming restriction order after a scandal broke out. Someone reportedly made a 3-month-old baby stand in the rain to shoot a scene until the infant lost their voice. The pay? 800 yuan. 800. Let that number sit in your chest for a second, because that wasn't just a production accident, that wasn't a misunderstood arrangement, that was the industry's ugliest truth exposed in HD. When profit becomes the only religion, human beings turn into props, and even the most basic moral bottom line gets crushed into powder. And the sickest part, this kind of thing wasn't rare before. It was everywhere, it just wasn't photographed. It wasn't uploaded. It wasn't turned into a public scandal. The rot existed quietly, until one day, someone finally caught it on camera. Against that backdrop, Guo Yuxin's choice hits even harder, because it lands exactly on the industry's most painful nerve. Long dramas are slow, but they have weight. Short dramas are fast, but they collapse easily. One builds a career like a stone tower, layer by layer, heavy, stubborn, solid. The other builds fame like a firework, bright for a second, gone before you can even blink. And here's the real issue: the industry has been pretending fireworks are towers. It sells speed as efficiency, it sells noise as acting, and it sells cheap emotional shortcuts as audience demand. The moment something goes viral, the machine moves in, sign them, clone them, replicate the formula, squeeze the audience dry, and move on to the next phase. That's how people end up thinking a 3-month-old baby is just a shooting resource. That's how you get 800 yuan for a child's suffering. That's how you get crews who don't even flinch anymore. So when Guo Yuxin rips up an 8-figure contract and walks into 8 months of long drama hell, it's not only a personal decision, it's a refusal to participate in a system that's turning everything, art, labor, and even children, into disposable fuel. And that's why her move doesn't just look brave. Because in a market addicted to fast money, anyone who chooses slow craft becomes a threat. She reminds people that the emperor has no clothes. She forces the audience to remember what real acting feels like. She makes the shortcut merchants look cheap. The question, then, isn't whether she's swimming against the current. The question is whether she's cutting off her own financial road. And honestly, in the short term, maybe, because the brutal truth is, turning down a 30 billion view invitation is not a symbolic sacrifice. It's a real one. It's rent, resources, exposure, sponsorship, momentum, algorithm favor, and industry temperature all packed into one deal, and she threw it away. You stop being a person. You stop being an actor. You become a trend the platform can replace in a week, and that's exactly what Guo Yuxin is trying to avoid. So ask yourself this: no filters, no fan bias, no moral grandstanding. If you were holding an offer with guaranteed billions of views in your hand, would you really gamble 8 months on a role that might not explode? Would you choose a character with complexity over a contract with certainty? Would you choose the slow road, knowing the world rewards speed? Most people wouldn't, and that's why her decision feels so rare. It almost looks unreal, because in an industry where everyone is running toward the exit with cash in their arms, she's the one person turning around and walking back into the fire, empty-handed, sweating, silent, just to prove that acting can still mean something. And maybe that's the real twist. She didn't refuse 30 billion views because she hates success. She refused it because she wants a success that can't be deleted by the next algorithm update.
Thank you for watching my channel. See you in the next videos. Thanks.